Hello and welcome to another episode of HR Quick Bites, where we discuss some of the basic things that you need to know as an HR professional. Now, I know that it's been quite some time since I have last posted here in YouTube, and I'm actually going to also post this in my TikTok channel. So if you have TikTok, and also follow me there. I'll put the link to our TikTok or to my TikTok dun sa description section nito, or I'll try to put it in the comment section. It's been a while, so hindi na ako gano'n ka-familiar, sa kung ba siya ipo-post. So it's, for this episode today, I wanted to discuss something, that I am very passionate about, and it has to do with compensation and benefits. And, a lot of HR professionals here in the Philippines, it's one area of HR, it's one facet of HR na medyo talagang iniiwasan, si compensation and benefits. And this is basically because people mistakenly believe na when you are in compensation and benefits, you need to be very, very good at math. It comes with the territory, siguro. You need to have at least the basic math. You need to be good at it. But it doesn't mean na kailangan talaga yung magaling ka sa mental math or stuff like that. Kasi hindi naman ito yung tipo merong pupunta sa yung empleyado and bigla ka nilang tatanungin ng 7 times 8. Hindi naman siya gano'n, okay? So, let's go ahead and discuss yung atin pong, nakikita ninyo sa aking background for today. So I wanted to talk about the components of the compensation system. Of course, before you can get to the components of the compensation system or the different things that you need to be familiar with in terms of compensation, dapat yung basic naiayos nyo na siya. So, kung wala kayong kung kumbaga kung hindi niyo naiintindihan pa yung mga basic natin, like for example, the difference between monthly paid, monthly rate, daily rate, how to compute for overtime, how to compute for premium pay, what's the difference between a regular holiday and a special non-working day. You need to understand those first. Okay, kasi yun yung pinaka typically urgent, pinaka maraming questions kayo na kailangan i-address when it comes to your employees. Yung components of compensation system, this is basically something that you need to be familiar with if you are going to go beyond sa kung ano ba yung nire-require ng batas. At ito yung tinitignan nyo na how you can make use of compensation as a way to engage employees and to maximize their productivity. So, isa sa mga kailangan nating matandaan pagdating sa compensation system, importante that you have a job description. Hindi lang ito something that you use, for your compensation. The job description actually guides everyone in HR on how to manage performance of the employees, how to maximize their productivity, how to ensure that you and the employee are on the same page. If you don't have a job description, it's very hard for the employee to understand what's expected of him or her. Kahit pa sabihin natin na ginagawa naman na niya 'to ng matagal na, dapat alam na niya kung ano ba yung ibig sabihin nung kanyang or ano yung ini-entail nung kanyang posisyon. Doesn't work that way kasi your definition of the position might be different from how that position is defined in other organizations. Kahit pa sabihin natin parehong billing assistant 'yan, there might be certain, nuances that's different from with your company compared to other companies. So you need to make sure that you have a job description in place. And this has to be written clearly from the not just from the not just from HR perspective, but also from the perspective of the employee and the immediate head and the subject matter experts. Dapat naiintindihan din ni employee yung nakalagay sa kanyang job description. So it should be written in a way that's easy to understand. One common mistake that most HR do is that when they write job descriptions, masyadong malalim or masyadong technical yung words, masyadong ma-jargon, which leads to the employee not really understanding what's required of the position. And ang nangyayari ngayon dun in turn, what happens is yung job description, it's not actually being followed, and it's more of a play by the ear ang nangyayari doon ngayon sa kung paano ginagawa ni employee yung kanyang trabaho. So it's very important that you have a good job description in place. How do you get to the job description? This is where job analysis comes in. Job analysis allows you to understand the role, allows you to understand the scope of the role, and it also allows you to understand ano ba yung kailangan for the role. A job analysis, the output of the job analysis typically comes in the form of the job description and the job specification. Now, here in the Philippines, typically we include the job specification in the description itself. Kaya makikita nyo minsan yung job description, may certain part doon na nakalagay kung ano ba yung mga kailangan for that position. So usually when we say job description, that already includes the job specification. But if we're going to be technical about it, job description is just the duties and responsibilities, the reporting structure, probably, the KPIs. But the job specification includes yung mga eligibilities, ano yung mga qualifications for the position. Now, apart from the job description, it's also a good thing to do a job evaluation. So you do the job analysis and you have your job description. You do the job evaluation and the benchmarking, then you're going to have your own salary structure. So job evaluation leads to job grades. See, salary benchmarking leads to salary structure. And the salary structure and the job grade go hand in hand. One job grade equals one pay grade. So, importante rin na meron kayong job evaluation. Now, like what I've mentioned here, it's a systematic process of determining ano ba yung relative value ng isang position within the organization compared to other positions within the same organization, of course. So, yun yung ginagawa ni job evaluation. This is something that takes a bit of time to do. So si job evaluation is not something that you can finish within, let's say, a month or two, kasi it has a lot of moving parts. You need to make sure that all of your job descriptions are updated. So kailangan talaga meron yung job analysis. The job descriptions are updated. You have a complete list of all of your job titles. You understand kung ano ba yung differences ng mga job descriptions na yon. You have an updated version of your organizational chart. And then of course, hindi rin ito something na po pwedeng si HR lang ang gagawa on their own. They have to involve representatives from the different levels of the organization and different departments. Kasi kailangan na lahat ay same page on the relative worth of a position. Pag si HR lang siyang gumawa noon, baka mali yung kanyang appreciation for the job description. So kailangan talaga na it's more of a collaboration between all of the representatives, all of the levels of the organization, and all of the departments of the organization. In approach, whenever we do job evaluation, we typically ask them to create a job evaluation committee that will help us in verifying, validating the job description, validating the scoring plan, scoring the positions themselves, and validating the resulting job grades and salary structure. So si job evaluation medyo mahaba na proseso ito kasi you still have to identify ano ba yung method of job evaluation that works best for that organization. And then you also have to identify what's the best way to set up the job grades, what's the best way to set up the pay grades. You also have to do benchmarking, which also means that if you have the budget, you would need to have a copy of the salary survey coming from yung mga talagang authoritative or yung mga kilala ng names when it comes to salary surveys like Towers Watson or Marsh Mercer, Mercer, ayan. Sila yung talagang mga, yun ang kanilang line of business. Now, of course, puwede naman na let's say you're on a budget, puwede namang hindi kayo dun kumuha. ECOP and PMAP are also offering salary survey, or if you have the time for it, if you have the capacity and the network for it, you can actually reach out to your fellow HR and get them to join or get them to share with you the data that they have. And then of course, once you have analyzed all of this data, you may also or you might also need to share the results with them pag nabuo mo na yung salary structure or salary analysis that you have. But like what I've mentioned, it takes time. Plus, of course, babalikan mo yung mga napag-aralan mo sa statistics nung nandun ka pa sa college. Kasi you have to set up the percentile. So kung medyo it's something na you don't have time for or it's something na medyo may allergy ka dahil mga numbers, I wouldn't recommend doing that on your own. And instead, kung talagang on a budget ka, you can make use of ECOP or PMAP. Or in some cases ang ginagawa nung iba is they make use of the results in JobStreet kasi 'di ba si JobStreet meron din sila nung parang sort of a salary survey. But I wouldn't, put too much weight on that kasi medyo skewed yung data coming from JobStreet kasi ang ginagamit nila is whatever, salary has been included or inputted by, their members or those who sign up sign up for accounts with JobStreet. So 'pag ina-update nila yung kanilang mga resume, CVs, and they put there yung kanilang salary and they include everything that they get instead of just the basic. So ang nangyayari 'pag gano'n, nai-skew yung data kasi it's not really reflective of the actual basic salary. Usually kasi si salary survey, separate yung sa basic salary, separate yung mga allowances, bonuses, and whatnot. So yun, okay. And then of course, as kumbaga parang guide, dun sa inyong overall compensation system, dapat alam niyo rin kung ano yung inyong compensation philosophy. So in compensation, meron tayong tinatawag na leaders, laggers, and matchers. So dapat alam ninyo where you want to place your organization. Just because your organization want to be competitive doesn't mean na dapat leader kayo or matcher kayo. I've seen some companies na they are actually laggers simply because they are competing for a different set of talents. So depende kasi yan sa kung ano yung talent na tina-target ninyo, depende sa laki ng company, depende sa kung gaano kayo kakilala. I've known some bigger companies na lagger sila kasi mas nagfo-focus sila on the benefits. Compensation-wise, hindi gano'n kataas yung binibigay nila na sweldo, pero in terms of benefits, dun naman talaga sila palong-palo. Kumbaga maganda talaga yung binibigay nila. Laggers do not mean that you are way below the minimum wage. Ang ibig sabihin lang ng laggers is compared to the market in general, you offer the basic, the compensation that you are offering is lower than what the market average is. So that's just the meaning of lagger. Ibig sabihin, yung inyong salary structure is most likely anchored on the 10th percentile or 25th percentile. Whereas matchers would usually be at 50th percentile or market average, and the leaders would be at about 75th percentile to the 90th percentile or more. um, Hindi gano'n kadali mag-set up ng salary structure kasi if for example, like in our case, whenever a client tells us that they want to, lead the market by 10%, so hindi 'yun automatic na ibig sabihin nun ay nasa 60th percentile sila, hindi. So there's a lot of computation that also comes into play whenever you are trying to create a salary structure. I wouldn't say na computation na tipong, dapat alam mo yung standard deviations and stuff like that. It's more of a bit of a logic on how you would be able to pinpoint kung saan ba dapat nakaposisyon yung kanilang, midpoint nung kanilang salary structure. So, kaya nga usually 'pag job evaluation, ang mga companies ang ginagawa nila is they really take the time to get a third party provider kasi yun yung pinakamabilis na way para makapag-create ng job grades and then ng salary structure kasi hindi yun gano'n kabilis talaga. So yun, so ulitin ko lang ha, so meron tayong tinatawag na, pagli-lead or yung mga leaders natin, matchers, and yung tinatawag natin na laggers. Okay, so lagging behind in terms of the market average is not bad, it just simply means that you are lower than the market average. And usually yan ginagawa yan ng iba 'pag they want to focus more on the benefits. Kasi you have to keep in mind na 'pag ang focus is more on the benefits rather than on the basic pay, hindi impacted, si SSS, si PhilHealth, si Pag-ibig, and even si 13th month kasi hindi gumagalaw yung basic. 'Pag, sa benefits kasi kahit pa sabihin natin na magdagdag yan ng mga leave credits, HMO coverage, additional allowances or bonuses, hindi nun na walang impact kay 13th month. So in terms of cost efficiency, mas cost efficient if the focus is more on better benefits rather than higher salary. Of course, this would also mean, kumbaga, advantageous siya on the side of the employer, but this would also mean that on the side of the employee, especially if your employee is, ang motivating factor niya is more on the salary, the basic, rather than just the benefits. Lalo na pag let's say yung mga single, medyo ano yan, medyo sore spot sa kanila pag yung salary nila is hindi kasing competitive or hindi kasing taas nung nakikita nila, sa market. So, something that you have to keep in mind. So, babalansehin niyo yan. You have to understand ano ba yung mga motivating factors ng inyong mga employees, and then you have to match that with ano ba yung capacity ni company to pay, ano ba yung goals and objectives ni company. So, kailangan yung tignan yan pareho. Um, Nobody gets it right all the time. Sometimes the system, the compensation system might be working for the company right now or for you right now. Pero after some time, after a year or two, if there's a major or drastic change in, let's say, the inflation rate or katulad nung nangyari ng pandemic, nagbabago bigla yung mga preferences ng mga employees. Prior to pandemic, people were people don't have any idea of working from home or working from anywhere. Everyone accepted the fact that work should be done within the office. But after the pandemic, people started considering yung work setup. Saan ba magtatrabaho? Kailangan ko ba mag-report sa office? So it's already a primary deciding factor for them. And then you also have yung bang health benefits, covered by yung family ko, it's something that's also becoming important for most of the employees right now. Would you be providing me with my own laptop or stuff like that? So nag-iiba na yung mga preferences nila. Hindi na siya um, kasing specific prior to the pandemic na tipong talagang ang nagiging focus lang is more on the salary. So hindi na siya gano'n right now. So you have to keep up dun sa mga ganong bagay, sa mga ganong changes in the labor market. So yun. Now, pagdating sa pay structure, there are actually different types of pay structure. So hindi rin isa lang, there's no just one way to go about creating the pay structure. The pay structure can actually come in different forms. So, pupuwede siya na, may mga different pay grades or may mga pay ranges, puwedeng merong broad banding, pupuwede rin na yung ating pay structure is naka-anchor lang siya dun sa kung ano man yung minimum wage, for that particular area. So, iba't ibang forms yung ating pay structure. Pinakasimple na pay structure would be the single step approach or the single pay or the single rate approach. Ibig sabihin, per job grade, there's only one rate for that. Doesn't matter how long you have been, as long as you're in job grade 1, this would be your rate. So this is an example of what a single rate or single step approach would look like. Now, our government makes use of the step rate method. Okay? Meaning, meron kang salary grade. So you would see here, this is actually available online. And this was way back in 2019, prior to the pandemic. So most likely, mas humaba na ito. I think nasa mga 30 plus na tayo na salary grades right now when it comes to the salary standardization law. So our system sa gobyerno natin, yung pagdedetermine ng sweldo, you actually have different salary grades, and then each salary grade would have its own steps. Okay? And then you only get to move to the next step if you're able to comply with the requirements for that particular step. So makaka-move ka lang pag na buo mo na kung ano man yung mga requirements para maka-move ka sa step na yun. So kung mapapansin nyo dito sa ating salary standardization law, yan nga sabi ko, 'di ba? You have your salary grades here and you also have your different steps here. There's no in between, there's no 2%, 3% increase, etc. Very specific yan. When you move from one step to the next, specific yung kung magkano yung makukuha mo. So if for example, balik lang tayo dito kay salary standardization. So if for example, you are at salary grade 1 and you are currently at step 2, and then you were able to comply with the requirements for step 3, eto yung magiging sweldo mo pag nakapag-comply ka na. Hindi siya 2% of this or 1%, hindi. So automatic yan, it becomes 11,254. Okay, now again, keep in mind this was a way back prior to the pandemic, so figures might have already changed. Okay? Another type of pay structure would be yung mas kilala natin, which is the pay range. And when it comes to the pay range, one particular kumbaga characteristic of the pay range is that it has a minimum point and it has a maximum point and it has a midpoint. Okay. So, yung range na 'yan yung buong range noong salary for this particular, job grade. Now etong range na ito, hindi ibig sabihin niyan na after 6,000 jump ka na to 18,600. That's for the step rate method. For the pay range dito actually ginagamit yung, meron kang mga percentage of increase. So, for example, if after performance appraisal you were given a 2% increase, 2% multiplied by 16,000 yun yung magiging increase mo, okay? The closer you are to the midpoint, the more competent you are. Okay? Kasi the assumption is that when you are already at midpoint, there's already a 100% match between the required competency for the position and your competency. Okay? And this is determined using the comparative ratio or compa ratio, which again, another set of computation, another set of formula. Yan. Pero basically, that's the idea behind comparative ratio. When you have reached 100% or 1 sa comparative ratio, that means yung competency required for the position, you have already complied with it, you're fully competent, kaya ando ka na sa midpoint. Past the midpoint, dapat nagsisimula na yung immediate head to groom you for the next job grade. Okay. So, hindi ito yung tipo na kailangan, 'pag nandito ka na sa maximum at saka lang ide-determine kung ready ka na ba for promotion, hindi. Ang idea behind pay range is that 'pag lumagpas ka na ng midpoint dapat nag-i-start na yung grooming. This is actually a good way, a good, pay structure to have if you also have a succession planning program in place. So, alam mo na kaagad na, "Uy, lumagpas na siya, so dapat nagsisimula na ako na i-train siya kasi narating na niya yung midpoint." So, very important dito na, yung mga increases na binibigay, you take into consideration the competency of the person. Kasi each increase that you provide the person brings that person closer to the midpoint. So, hindi ka po puwedeng basta lang increase ng increase. There has to be a reason for that. A good application of this pay structure as well is that yung increase na binibigay niyo should be for those who have gone beyond, ano ba yung minimum requirement of the job. So, which means 'pag naka-average hindi dapat nagkakaroon ng increase. Ang increase should only be for those who, already have attained, an appraisal or a performance review results of above average and beyond, 'yun. So that's a good way to go about this. Now, etong mga 'to, of course, hindi naman ito yung tipo na, nakaset in stone na this is how you should handle the pay structure or how you should do the job evaluation or how you should do yung inyong, pay structure, okay? Etong mga 'to is more of just a guide. There are still other ways. So I've just mentioned the three popular ones, but there are still other ways on how you can create the salary structure, how you can do the job evaluation, in order to come up with a kumbaga competitive structure, competitive compensation system for your organization. So hindi naman ito set in stone na dapat ito lang yung titignan ninyo. These are the popular ones, but you can still look at other ways. So hindi natin na-mention, for example, yung kung paano pag banded structure, 'yan. Kasi this is more of just a traditional pay structure or what if, for example, yung market reference, natin or yung mga spot rates na tinatawag or kung papaano 'pag, for example, we want to anchor our pay structure dun lang sa minimum wage for the area. So, hindi pa natin nadi-discuss yun, okey? So, yun yung mga kailangan nating tandaan pagdating natin doon sa, compensation system. But like what I've mentioned earlier, it's also very important that you understand the basics. So for example, differences ng monthly paid versus daily paid. Palaging marami nagkakamali dito. So if itong mga ganitong bagay is medyo nalilito pa kayo, understand these things first because this will have an impact on how you're going to create your salary structure. If you don't know how to identify i-identify kung ano ba yung factor na dapat yung ginagamit. 'Pag gumawa kayo bigla ng salary structure and you don't understand the difference between monthly paid and daily paid, yung inyong salary structure might not be aligned with what you want to happen, and it might not appear to be competitive. Sa paningin mo competitive siya, pero 'pag tinignan mo siya talaga, it's not actually that competitive kasi let's say ginagamit mo pala na factor is 365 or mali yung computation mo. So you need to make sure that you understand these things first. Okay? So there you go. Very quick discussion on compensation systems. If you want to know more about compensation, I encourage you to attend our webinars. All you have to do is head to uprush-sg.com/events. I'll also put the link in the comment section or in the description of this video. I would also, if you are in Davao, I would also encourage you to sign up for the HR Bootcamp. We are taking the HR Bootcamp back to Davao. Uprush is the home of the original HR Bootcamp here in the Philippines. We are already on batch 3 for Davao. But in total, we are, I think, nasa batch 28, 29 na kami pag tinotal natin yung lahat ng mga batches ng HR Bootcamp, including the Manila area. So if you want to join the HR Bootcamp in Davao, simply go to uprush-sg.com/events and look for HR Bootcamp. Or you can also email us at training-inquiries@uprush-sg.com or visit our Facebook page, Uprush. Just type Uprush Social Geekers. Yan. Doon niyo po makikita yung aming mga events and you can sign up for that. We do offer group rates. So if you're joining with 5 or more team members, please reach out sa training-inquiries@uprush-sg.com and we would provide you details on how you can avail of the discount for group rate or yung group rates namin pag 5 or more attendees yung pupunta. Okay? So we're still finalizing kung saan siya, pero most likely this will be at the Panorama Hotel in case you're wondering kung saan siya gagawin. So if you're in Davao or you can head to Davao, this would be a great session. 2-day session siya. We will be discussing anything and everything under the sun when it comes to HR here in the Philippines. So we would have topics on talent acquisition, compensation and benefits, labor relations, and even learning and development. And with labor relations, you can actually um, list down all of your questions. We will spend time answering all of those questions. So kumbaga parang nakalibreng consultation ka na rin. Okay? So we do hope to see you in our future webinars. I'll put the links, all of the links that I have mentioned in the comment section or in the dun po sa ating description ng ating video. And we do hope to see you dun sa aming mga future webinars. Okay? And of course, similar to before, comment, like, share, subscribe to our video, subscribe to my TikTok account para sa mga ganitong mga bite-sized videos. This is actually quite long kasi I'm posting this in YouTube, but we also have bite-sized videos in our Facebook page as well as in my TikTok account. So if you would like to know more about HR, follow those accounts. And comment lang and share lang kayo. Okay? Thank you so much, everyone. I'll see you in the next episode of HR Bytes. Okay? Bye-bye.